Hello friends, in this video let's talk about one of the important concept in MySQL. What is a constraint and what are all different types of constraints in MySQL RDBMS? See, for every RDBMS table we need to impose some business rules. So whatever the data which is storing in a table, that data need to satisfy those business rules. So when you want to impose any business rules on a specific tables, you need to handle those rules with a constraints. By default, RDBMS supports a couple of constraints. If those rules are not working with these default constraints, then you can handle separately. So first of all, let us try to understand what is constraints and how to handle if you are not able to manage with constraints in a separate session. So constraints we can create at a table level or at the column level. So if you create at a column level means it checks for the particular rule and the entire column in a table. For example, if your column has type of integer, it checks for the integer as well as that whatever the rule you were imposing on the top of a column. So as I mentioned, those are at the column level as well as table level. So and constraints used to limit the type of a data that can go into a table. So it limits the type of a data. And also these constraints make sure the accuracy and reliability of a data in a table. If there is any violation is going to happen on this particular rule, then that particular record is not going to insert into a table. Either it's insert, it is going to stop either the insertion time as well as even at the updation time. At any point of time, this particular if a violation happens, that particular operation or action is going to stop. And depends on the type of constraints, you can create one or more constraints on a single table. These constraints are going to store along with a table. When you drop a table, by default, the constraints which are linked to this table will be dropped automatically. And the table is as it is. If you want to drop the constraints, yes, you can do it. You can add a constraint to the existing table or you can drop a constraints of an existing table. We have a comfort or flexibility in adding a constraint to the existing table or dropping a constraints on the existing table. And as I mentioned, all these constraints are going to store along with the table. When you drop a table, by default, all the constraints will be dropped at a time. Now, so let's talk about what are all different type of constraints here. So these are all most of same constraints we have in every RDBMS. So let's talk about first one, not null. And these constraints are self-explanatory things. By looking at the name itself, you understand the purpose of the constraints. So first one is not null. So it is going to ensure that particular column won't accept the null value. Let us say you specify the name of the employee. Let's say you're talking about employee table. The name of the employee should not be null. It should have some value. Okay, some alphabet should be. So if you specify the employee name as not null, means it is not going to allow nulls into the particular employee name column. It ensures that column cannot have a null value in the entire table. That is nothing but a not null. Second one is unique. The name itself says unique behavior. It is going to make sure that all values of a column in a table should be unique, should be different. So let us say take a bank account table, accounts table. Okay, so if you see account number, it should be unique for everybody. Okay, some value should be there, account number 1 2 3 4 5 6 something like that. Okay, like this. So I cannot create 1 2 3 again. Why? Because same two people cannot have a same account number. So the behavior should be unique. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 4 5 6 and so on, like that. It should not be duplicate. When I try to insert 1 2 3 again into the same column, it says a violation, unique key violation. I'll talk about practically how to create, how to drop, and how to insert, and how to handle the constraint errors as well. The next one is primary key. See, primary key is nothing but the combination of above two, not null plus unique, not null plus unique. It means that if you see here in unique, in the not null, it allows duplicates, even if you remember, if you see duplicates. But here in the unique, it allows one null, because null is a different, one empty or one null actually here. Because the purpose of unique is it should be having unique behavior, unique value for every column. This 1 2 3 allowed, not allowed, but null will be allowed one time. Second null won't be allowed. But here in the not null, it looks for the value, that's it. Either it's a duplicate or not, it doesn't bother. So now when you come to the primary key, it is a combination of not null plus unique. It means that it does not allow nulls, and it should be unique. It should be unique. So it means that it should have some value and it should be unique. Okay, so like this, if you see, and null won't be allowed as well as duplicates won't be allowed. You should give some different value, something like that. You should give some different value like this. Same value you cannot insert. That is the purpose of primary key. So now let's go for the next one. Foreign key. Foreign key. So foreign key. See now these are all three constraints works on a single table. The behavior of a particular above three constraints works on a single table. Okay, but when you go to foreign key, so to work with a foreign key, you should have two tables. So one is the master table and child table, or parent table and child table. Okay, see, when you are declaring a foreign key, so you will be declaring a foreign key between these two tables. Okay, first master table should have that particular key before you are going to insert a data into a child table. So let us say, so employee department table. First department table should be created here. I'm just giving example. I'll explain this. Okay, now so here department tables. So first department table need to be created first to say how many departments you have in your company. Let us say I'm creating tech, admin, like this. So now once these two departments are created, then only I can tag the people to the specific department. Okay, for example, I got a new employee, so which he belongs to testing. Okay, I cannot add the testing employee direct to the test employee table. Why? Because testing department itself is not created in a company. Okay, means, so to cross verify that, I'm imposing a foreign key behavior in between these two tables. So when I put that foreign key between these two tables, then it checks for the testing department. Since testing department does not exist, then it throws an error saying that that particular key was not defined in the master table. So foreign key works between the tables. So it prevents actions that would destroy links between the tables. Okay. So if there is a case like this, if I try to add a testing employee into the employee table, it fails to insert. Why? Because testing itself is not defined in the department table or in a company. So that's how the foreign key works. So next one is check. Check constraints. So what is a check actually? So let us say, so there is a table, employee table. Okay. So I have I am planning to impose a rule that every employee which is going to join a particular company, he should cross 18 years. Assume it. Okay. He should be more than 18 years of age. Okay. So then I'm going to put it. So when I try to insert a record into employee table, I'll check his age because while checking, means to check his age, I'm asking him to insert a date of birth. Okay, he'll be inserting a date of birth. So See his date of birth, once he is trying to insert a date of birth, so then my check constant automatically validates his age. He calculates his age based on date of birth, between the date of birth as well as today's date. And if he is crossing 18 years, then it allows to insert. Otherwise, it says that RMS is saying that associate need to cross 18 years to join into a company. I'm just giving a sample rule. Maybe this rule is really applies to every organization and all, but let's not talk that way. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Okay, now the next one is default constraints. Okay, in the default constraints, so there are some cases you need to put a default value for a particular column. There might be a scenario might be coming. Okay, so that time you can default that, but while creating a table itself, you can assign a default value, either let us say a boolean column or a bit column. So that time you want to put it as a true or 1 or 0. Okay, so 1 or 0 it accepts, but you want to put it 1 as a default value. This is a very rare scenario you might be getting, so that at least you can use the default constraints for this particular constraints. So these are the list of different type of constraints we have in MySQL. In the next sessions, we'll talk about practically on each and every constraints. That's it. Thank you for watching.